The PC gave us computing power at home, the internet connected us, and mobile let us do it pretty much anywhere. Now generative AI lets us communicate with technology in our own language using our own senses. But figuring it all out when you're living through it is a totally different story. Welcome to Leading the Shift, a new podcast from Microsoft Azure. I'm your host, Susan Ettlinger. In each episode, leaders will share what they're learning to help you navigate all this change with confidence. Please join us. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, I love the kind and down-to-earth attitude, the extensive animation knowledge, and the keen sense of humor of the Rotoscopers. My favorite part of the podcast is the animation trivia that you can hear, and I thought it was hilarious when Mason Smith accidentally said that Rockadoodle only grossed $12,000.
You're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, episode 29, the best of 2012.
Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, Disney, DreamWorks, Pixar, Don Bluth, and everything in between. We're your hosts, Morgan Stradling and Chelsea Robson.
Howdy ho, everybody!
So, I can't believe it, Chelsea. This has been one crazy year.
It's been an amazingly crazy year. I can't believe it.
The Rotoscopers began and was started, and we're coming up on our one-year anniversary in February. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff that's happened with the show and with us and the podcast, so it's been good.
It has been amazing. I mean, I think back and there's so many things that happened this year that I never would have thought possible at the beginning when we first started it. Really amazing. But let's go into the news. Our news this week is basically just covering the top grossing films of 2012. I've got the top 10 movies here of 2012, and I'm almost surprised at some of the rankings on here, but then again, I'm not really all that surprised. Morgan, are you ready for this list?
Woo!
Woohoo!
Right.
So, the number one top grossing film of 2012... Disney's Brave, weighing in at $237 million. Cha-ching!
Domestically. So, yeah, that's actually kind of interesting. The number one highest grossing film is Brave, which, okay, I'm not surprised. It's a Pixar film, so immediately it's going to be a huge success. It's going to get a lot of money. But I am kind of surprised because I remember when people were saying when this came out, oh, Brave, it's not doing that well compared to other Pixar films, you know, but still that's saying something that, I mean, I'm looking at a list right now and Brave is ranked 8th for domestic gross. And it's above Wall-E, Ratatouille, Cars 2.
What?
You know, so it's still doing perfectly well. And the fact that it's beating anything else that came out this year, I still think is pretty good.
Yeah, but you also have to think of when Brave came out. Brave came out in the middle of the year, and a lot of the big heavy hitters didn't come out till the end.
True.
So
good points.
These are, you know, facts you got to keep in there. But still, these are a really cool list. Number 2. This one surprised me a lot. Madagascar 3, DreamWorks and Paramount Pictures.
You know, maybe DreamWorks knows something that we don't.
Maybe, you know, just keep throwing lots of lights and sparkles at them, and then they'll come running. Hey, it worked.
Dazzling 3D.
And in 3D. They brought in a whopping $216 million. That was impressive. Next, we have Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. You know, we had a couple episodes where we focused a lot on this movie because it was coming out, and it was kind of the biggest movie that was coming out around the time that we started. So, you know, speaking on that, what is going to be in store for 2012?
Okay, so next one coming up a bit after that is Dr. Seuss's The Lorax. That's by Illumination Entertainment. I'm not a huge Dr. Seuss fan, but I will see it. It does look interesting from the preview I saw.
Everything that I've ever seen about this book or anything just to me has like a moral written all over it. And I'm just not a fan of movies or anything where it just like they spoon feed you the moral throughout the entire thing. So, I mean, it's a good concept and everything, but it's just like, I want to decide that I like, trees on my I want to decide this on my own, not them like telling me this huge long story about these different trees that get cut down and now it's no longer there.
Well, Lorax, this movie is really new territory for me. I'm completely unfamiliar with about
What is it about? So we have this city or this town or whatever, they've basically turned everything into plastic or paved
artificial.
Over it. Yeah, everything is artificial, and they've been trained to like it or not think outside the box. But there's a girl who says, "Hey, look, this is a picture of a tree," and they get all excited about this. What is this thing they call a tree that lives and grows and is not plastic? So he ends up going on this little adventure, meets this, this short, little monster who has the voice of
Danny DeVito.
And
it's fabulous.
All right.
I just think of Little Phil.
Oh, boy.
I know. I do.
Orange Phil.
Oh, boy.
I do. I think a lot of Hercules in that moment. So he just talks about how these trees, they used to be there, but then they cut them all down and build up a town that didn't need anything that would grow or that would die. And so, but then the kid is on a quest at this point in time to raise so that everybody can know about that, we have trees, we can plant them, we can be real. And so, I don't know. It's just, like I said, I understand. I like the concept. I like trees. I do.
Do you?
I do. But I don't want them to be spoon feeding me this moral for an hour and a half, So,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah, you probably don't need to see the movie if you already love trees.
Well, we'll see. When it comes out, we'll give our reviews on it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Sounds fascinating. Yeah.
Hey, at least this is one that you can read the book beforehand, and it's not that big.
True.
It's not that big of a task.
That's true.
It'll take 10 minutes.
Unless you overly analyze anything, in which case Dr. Seuss can be very deep.
Yeah, we'll hold that off for the college courses.
There you go.
So they've had a good time to build up a lot of revenue on this one.
Yeah, $214 million. So just right behind Madagascar 3. I remember when this came out back in March, it actually toppled a few records. It grossed $70.2 million on its opening weekend, which was huge considering this was March 2nd. It wasn't even spring break. I mean, there was just a lot of buzz about the Lorax. It had the second largest opening for an environmentalist film, and obviously the biggest opening for Illumination Entertainment, so they were very happy. And then third best film debut in March.
Dang. And number 4 was Wreck-It Ralph, brought to us by Disney. So far they've come in with $173 million. Cha-ching.
And counting.
And counting, yeah. I mean, that was just in November, too, so that one's definitely up there. Got a lot of traction, and that'll keep going, rising up really high. I'm pretty sure our test screening episode has something to do with that. We had an awesome opportunity to be able to go and see the test screening of Wreck-It Ralph that came to town.
It was really exciting.
Oh, for sure.
So let's talk about how we came across this screening.
As we were standing there, we see these people just walking around with these clipboards, very official-like. And they had this picture on one of them, and she pointed out to me, I'm like, what is this? So I went over and I talked to this guy, and he pulls out and he's like, would you like to see this film? And he takes his hand and he says the word as he points it, Wreck-It Ralph. It is actually the newest Disney movie that will be coming out soon. It's an animated film. Would you like to see it? Yes, I would, Mr. Man. I would definitely love to see this. How many can I take? So I grabbed that one, and Morgan came over, grabbed one as well, and we were in.
And we were in.
Number 5, we have Ice Age Continental Drift, brought to us by Fox. And they brought in $161 million, followed by Hotel Transylvania, Sony, $143 million. Rise of the Guardians, DreamWorks, which is $85 million.
And actually, that's actually been pretty sad for DreamWorks, I think. I think a lot of people, especially those who worked on it, were really excited for this film, and it just didn't take off like people wanted.
Yeah.
It was really good, but yeah, it's kind of been a disappointment box office-wise.
Mm-hmm. But it's still, like, it was, for me, one of the top movies of the year. So as far as gross-wise, it doesn't rate the way I would put it, but it's a really good film. Then we have Paranorman, brought to us by Focus. And then, interestingly enough, Beauty and the Beast 3D and Finding Nemo 3D both brought in over $40 million.
Ooh.
It's pretty amazing.
That's the gift that keeps on giving, let me tell you.
Seriously.
All you have to do is spend a couple extra million, convert it to 3D, release it, and it almost does just as well as Paranorman.
Yeah. Wow. Man.
Nostalgia. It just makes you want to go see it again.
Exactly. So congratulations to all those studios for putting out such great works. I'm really happy about, it really was a good year.
Very good year in animation. I was impressed with this year. I liked the majority of the movies I saw. Some I didn't. Some were just okay, including the direct-to-video ones, and the re-releases and whatnot. So 2012 was a good year, and I'm looking forward to 2013. Okay, so this is the main dish of our show today. It is our best of 2012 show. So our year in review, everything that we've done that's funny, that wasn't funny, highlights, best of moments will be in the show. And it's been really fun putting it together and, reminiscing in the past and talking about, the Rotoscopers and seeing how far we've come, because we have come quite far. And yeah, we've just gained a lot of fans and supporters, and thank you to everyone for the support for the show. It's been fun to have this little community surrounding the show. And so this is just the year in the review.
It really has. Like I said earlier, it's just been an amazing year. Just the opportunities that have come along because we decided to put this together. What's funny, the reason why we wanted to put this together, I just remember a couple of years ago, Morgan and I just sitting around talking like, what should we do today? I don't know. Let's do a podcast. We should do that. That'd be cool. But we never actually did. But we always planned on it. Like, okay, someday when we do our podcast, we'll do this. Someday when we do our podcast, we'll do this. And, we just kept going over and over and over. And when the stars finally aligned and we were able to actually sit down and do it, it's just amazing the different things that have come around. But like Morgan was talking about, there's a lot of things that you learn as you get going. And the joys of learning how to do a podcast are blooper filled.
Can you hear me?
It's really low.
Mine is really low. Hello? Hello,
Yours
hello?
could be turned down a little bit, Morgan.
Mine? Turn me down. Or is it better?
That's better, right there.
Is it quiet?
Maybe a tad louder.
For me?
Okay, that's fine, Morgan, but I can't even hear Chelsea.
Well, I didn't speak, but I'm speaking now. Can you hear me very well at all? I am speaking.
Way too low. It needs to be louder. There's also quite a bit of background noise with y'all. Now it's gone.
Why? Whenever we close the door, it's fine. I think it's just because of the. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna stop the recording.
So how's my audio sounding?
It is sounding. Keep talking.
Oh, yeah. So I never know what to say when you're like, keep talking. So I'm just like, okay.
Well, sounds good to me.
All right.
Does it go under? It goes over the air.
Okay, great. I hear lots of banging around.
Yeah, I was moving. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Don't move.
Don't touch anything. And action.
All right. Who's going to start it?
I'll start it. Okay, how's everyone doing today?
Fantastic.
Yeah, just great.
Oh, good. I'm doing great.
Mason, that doesn't really sound very
Convincing?
convincing, yeah.
Oh no, this is awesome. I mean, we've got this is our second episode, so we survived the pilot episode, so I'm feeling good about this.
And this is also our second time recording the second episode.
Oh yeah.
Hey, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, so for everyone, we're new at this. We're working out the kinks. We were halfway into our last episode. We recorded 45 minutes worth. And then
we thought.
And we realized we didn't push the record button. It was really sad.
Yes.
Okay, I just have to let everybody know we have a cricket issue. So if you hear random chirping, it's because we have a visitor and we can't get rid of him. So we're just going to go forward. So if you hear chirping in the background, I'm so sorry. I really am.
We try not to be that boring, but,
we try. So what we're trying to do is, when Chelsea's talking, I go over and stand by the cricket so it'll be quiet, and then when it's my turn to talk again, I rush back, and then I start talking, and then in the middle of my talking, the cricket will go again, and so I run back over. It's a horrible, horrible situation. So we've just decided, whatever, you can chirp away. So that's how our night has been.
Oh, man.
So great.
I'm so sorry. I was going to mute my microphone and I hung up instead. Recording in section. No flushing allowed.
About Zeke's secret weapon. Oh,
sorry, I burped. I don't know.
Yeah,
The Lego table. That's so true. Dude, I was like a shareholder of the Lego table in my school.
Okay.
You got this stupid cricket going.
What is that cricket doing? Jiminy, get out of here! Cricket is going. Frickin' thing!
You can leave.
I'll go manage the cricket.
Go stand guard at the cricket.
He's looking over from Sid's house into Andy's room. Go get the cricket.
Go stand by the cricket.
Wait, are you also killing the cricket?
Yes. Sorry. There's two now?
The crickets, they were sent by a disgruntled animator to disrupt our podcast.
Okay. Oh, crap. I wasn't recording any of that.
Okay.
Wait, no, I am. Okay, never mind.
The scare of the unrecord.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Dude.
This is
the Rotoscopers podcast, episode 5.
Yeah. We have people talking in the background.
I feel like one of those, really nerdy people.
Oy vey, first it's the crickets, then it's the people,
Hey, Mom!
then it's the toilet.
Can you be quiet?
No, it's like the little kid in the other room trying to be all sophisticated and, Mom, be quiet! One really funny thing about this podcast, so when Morgan was filling me in on all the details of putting the podcast, of actually getting it together and putting it all together, she told me about, hey, I've got this guy friend, and I think it would be good to have him on there. And I'm thinking, okay, cool, whatever. Cool, whatever. And so the very first time I met Mason Smith was on our very first episode.
We didn't even have, we tried to schedule an introductory session for you two. It just never worked out. And so finally on the very first episode, we kind of just hit the ground running. Here you go.
Exactly. I mean, things just clicked. Like that first episode, straight from the beginning, we just all knew that it was going to be a fun time. And we just have come and grown through this last year, getting to know each other more and more.
That's my standard politician laugh.
That was good. That was good. I liked it.
It's my politician laugh that I use on my... Actually, my politician laugh is like... It's that one. And then when I crack up...
I am Mason Smith, and I approve of this message.
Fellow Americans, I'm Mason Smith, your choice for presidential candidate. This is all I have to say about my opponent. I'm Mason Smith. I approve this message.
I still say anonymous.
Really?
Instead of anonymous.
Yeah, anonymous.
Wow. How did that happen?
Well, when I was 2 years old, I taught myself how to read, but I taught myself like phonetically, like how the word looks.
Uh-huh.
And so that accounts for a lot of pronunciation problems that I have.
Ah.
I didn't know it was pronounced oregano until about 5 years ago.
What did you say, oregano?
I'd be like, welcome to Subway, what can I have? Well, I'd like it on Italian oregano cheese bread, please.
Oregano.
Oh, great, it's oregano, kid. And I'd go to the same Subway, when I was working at the mall at Oakley. So, I mean, golly, that took a long time. I forgot who told me how it was, but... now, Chris Sarandon, that's how you pronounce his name?
Chris Sarandon?
Oh boy, there I am with oregano. Okay, let's talk about another complex character that I think he's one of the more iconic characters of this film, and that is No Face.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have a better understanding of him after seeing this film. This was the third time I'd seen the film, so I think my understanding of him has deepened. Kind of a creeper, right? I'll just go out and say it. He's a very strange, creepy guy.
Well, and the thing is with No Face is that he's never really explained fully. I mean, we still don't really know who he is, other than they say he's a monster, but that's the people in the bathhouse interpretation of him.
Right.
He was eating people, and that's... Yes, he did.
That was a sweet scene when he's chasing through the bathhouse, and he's like this huge galloping monster. Right, and he is really interesting, and there are different interpretations, and that's why I like that Miyazaki kept it open-ended. I did find a couple of fan theories on the internet. The first is that No Face he stands for the impressionable, introverted, adolescent male. And to summarize the theory, basically the whole thing is about him, like, that nobody ever pays him attention, he doesn't have any friends, but then the moment when Chihiro shows him kindness and lets him in the bathhouse, he's, like, smitten, he's in love. So this theory is about him representing kind of this, like, adolescent male who, like, is trying to win the affections of this girl he has a crush on, so...
Yeah, I've definitely been in Chihiro's shoes, where you do one nice thing for a guy, and suddenly it's like...
And suddenly they're like,
They're in love with you, and they won't stop talking to you. And you're like, I was just trying to say hi, because no one else would. Like, I just wanted to be nice to you, and, I get to know you a little better, not be your girlfriend. Yeah, it's happened. Oh. and then they follow you and turn into a stalker and call you, somehow get your number, and then find you at church, and even though they don't go to your church, and yep, this has happened.
Oh man, you've had a No Face.
I've had a No Face. If only he offered me gold.
Oh gosh, so you are definitely not Chihiro.
Not anymore.
Oh, this was definitely...
I'm saying she's a gold digger.
But yeah, No Face is really cool.
And then just spiraling in circles. It's just like a strange moment to me. It's like, oh, you just realized that the guy you were in love with is a river spirit who's not really...
Out of her league.
Come on, Birdman. You cannot marry Aqua Girl.
You are from two different worlds. It's a Simpsons quote from Comic Book Guy. And then
character ever.
No, and then right after that moment when he says that
the bomb is like coming straight at him, and he looks at it, he's like, oh, I've wasted my life. Fantastic.
Love it.
You never really got into Simpsons, did you?
No, I wasn't allowed to watch it when I was a kid.
Oh, deprived. So,
but we watched King of the Hill, which sometimes is just as inappropriate.
Yeah.
But I guess that's because we're from South Texas, and so the Hill's like required.
It's therefore okay.
And I have no problem with that because I love King of the Hill. But Mom just would never let us watch The Simpsons.
Yeah. See, The Simpsons is like part of my vocabulary. I have 3 languages. I have Simpsons, Seinfeld, and Disney. And like in mixture order, depending on the subject matter that we're talking about at the moment. But those are the 3 things that I end up just quoting all the time. Yeah. But so, yeah, if I were to start you on a season, I would say just start with season 2. Find somebody who's got it. Somebody's got to have it up there. start in season 2 and then just start finding your way around. Any season in the first 10 are really funny.
Yeah. I remember watching the very first Simpsons episode in my English class in high school.
That one's not as good. Like, it's the first one, so it's not going to be... I mean, unless you're a rotoscoper, your first episode isn't going to be that great.
That is true, Chelsea. That is very
I know.
He's such a little girl. He's a little girl. What's up with David Archuleta? It's like a little baby deer, like a little Bambi. This whole time she's like, "Hey guys, it's so great to be here in Utah. I'm going to sing a song for you guys. Oh, you guys are great. Thank you so much." And we're like, "Sing the song already."
And do you know what, Morgan? Tell me. I don't think we realized how much of like fangirls we actually were at the beginning. I don't think we were we?
Oh, we were.
Yeah, we were. My dreams came true. You don't understand.
And it wasn't Disney related.
No,
it wasn't
not,
Disney.
Oh, not at all.
Blasphemy.
Well, you know what? It doesn't matter because this was even better. We had the fantastic opportunity to head on over to a neighboring city and visit our good friend Don Bluth. Woohoo! In his house and watch a nice fun theater moment. Oh, it was fantastic.
Yep. So I think we mentioned in the past episode, Don Bluth has a production company, a theater that he runs out of his home, and there is a full schedule and lineup of plays that he does, and he is the director-producer. He's been doing this for 7 years. And so we got to go, and in the process got to meet Don Bluth.
Oh my gosh.
Exciting.
It was amazing. As we drove in, we parked in the driveway, and then we're walking up the walk, and his door is like popped open a little bit, and then the very first thing we see, a man, red shirt, off in the corner, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, it's him, be cool.
Yeah, because Don Bluth wears, like in all his pictures, or a lot of them, he's wearing red, like that's his color, and so I saw the red, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Don Bluth. He's right there. He's handing me my program. Hi. Thank you. Okay.
I am now the coolest kid in America.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's in his house, and so his living room is converted to a stage. So he has this really big living room, and there's probably about 50 chairs. There's 2 rows on 3 sides of the house, and then on the 4th side, there's a big black backdrop, a stage, all the stage lights. So it was really exciting, and he had artwork all over the walls.
That was my favorite part.
And I was just sitting there staring, like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Random picture, random sketch drawing from Secret of Nim. Awesome!
We saw the play Bullets Over Broadway, which was actually a Woody Allen film that they kind of converted. It was unique.
They did a great job, too.
Yeah, it was exciting. Okay, so we got to meet him, and it was really exciting. Chelsea had a mutual friend who's in the play, and then who knew us. So he introduced us to him afterwards, and it was just really funny because we didn't want to be like we are now, like totally geeking out, and we're like, of course we said we're really big fans, we have an animation podcast, we know all about you, which I don't know if was the best.
He was very gracious. He was just like, whoa, what a compliment. Thank you.
Yes, he did say that. So we announced it to some friends, and they looked at us like,
who's that?
Okay, great.
I understand.
And of course we had to be like, the guy who directed All Dogs Go to Heaven, Land Before Time, Anastasia, and everyone, okay,
that is cool.
That is cool.
Okay, cool.
It was an amazing experience. I'm going to write up a review and put it on the website so you can read it there. And if you are in Arizona, you have to go. It's really cheap. It's only like $20. Definitely very reasonable, and actually was really good.
Quite good. I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
So if you would like to research more about this play or this theater, go to Don Bluth, frontrowtheater.com. It's a very long website, but it's pretty freaking cool.
So during this episode, we're also going to be reading some fan mail that we've received throughout the year, because our fans are just as much a part of the show as us, and they contribute, and, you know, they catch our mistakes that we make, and they contribute and teach us things about animation that we didn't know and about the movies that we review. So here is fan mail from Daniel Moreno, and he's talking a little bit about Mason. So he says, "Hey guys, I'm Daniel Moreno. I'm a 23-year-old Venezuelan from Caracas, and I love your discussions. The humor, the energy, the overall passion for animation really resonates with me, because I too am a fan of all kinds of animation. Hearing you is great because I'm practicing character animation on my own. There's no animation industry in this country, and schools like Animation Mentor are way too expensive for my middle economic status. And my objective is to work abroad as an animator, helping to tell great stories. Although things are a little discouraging here when most people around me treat such a plan as a child's dream because of the odds, I hate that word by the way, of that happening. I keep working really hard though, and I know when I'm ready, the animation world will have its arms wide open for me, just as much as I know it will for you, Mason, when you finish your studies. Thank you for being an inspiration to keep doing what I love, Daniel." So that's really cool. Thank you, Daniel. That I'm glad that our show inspires you. It not only inspires, you know, you and other people, but it inspires me as well. I just hearing people and their stories is really exciting to me and really fun to hear how our show is helping people achieve their dreams. Because, you know, that's one thing I always love about Disney is just Disney's all about the dream, right? And many of us have dreams of working in the animation industry, whether it's as an animator, whether it's just working in more of the management side, or some of us have no desire to work in animation at all, but, you know, are just passionate about it. So yeah, I like to see up and coming animation students and future animators and hear their stories, as well as people from in the business. So it's exciting. Thanks, Daniel.
A year ago, I never would have thought I would have received an email from Daniel Moreno from Caracas, Venezuela, telling me that something that I did is cool. Like, that's cool. Yay. Just a side note. Anyway.
So this next email, this is probably one of the longest emails we've ever received, and it's from Chris Coleman. And he's essentially the man behind tracksounds.com, which is a website that covers movie soundtracks from various animated, non-animated, just film in general, right? He is the man behind the music. So he wrote a very long email, and I thought it was very on point, especially since it talks about our Prince of Egypt episode, and we focus very much on the music in that episode. And I thought it'd be very interesting to hear his perspective, because he is, you know, hey, he had the gusto to create a website, right? So now he's an expert. And I really do mean that in all seriousness, that he is an expert. So I really like this email. So it says, "Hi folks, just wanted to express my appreciation for giving some coverage to the great animated feature that is The Prince of Egypt. As you all pointed out, it's a 2D feature that didn't and still does not get the accolades it should. The art style, lighting, and use of CGI is top rate all the way through and puts many 3D animated features to shame. For DreamWorks animation, it ranks just below How to Train Your Dragon, but in terms of 2D, it's easily their best. I'd say it surpasses many of Disney's 2D features of the mid to late 90s, including Tarzan. Anyways, glad you featured the music so prominently in your discussion. Hard not to, as it's a musical. It is one of Hans Zimmer's finest works for an animated film, including The Lion King. Just have a listen at the burning bush sublime. I do disagree regarding playing with the big boys now. When I first saw it back in theaters in '98, I had no issue with it, and still don't to this day. It was their only nod to offering something playful in the film. Some needed contrast given all the heaviness that follows. I found the number very entertaining, even though at its heart it's pretty dark, especially when you think about what's going on during that scene. An interesting juxtaposition, at least in my opinion. The title became sort of a thing between myself and some of my coworkers. Whenever one of us was being challenged by something, we'd often break out the phrase, "Well, you're playing with the big boys now," and eventually we'd belt out a few lines from that song. Oh, that's awesome. Still, I suppose I can see someone not feeling it appropriate. I also didn't find those two characters distracting either. I think you minimize the role they play in your discussion, though. They certainly appear and interact in the film much earlier than you make it sound. That is true. We didn't really focus on them at all.
Right.
I disagree about the music used in the end titles. You only talked about the Boyz II Men song, which I don't find all that compelling either, but neglected to talk about the Whitney Houston and Mariah Carey's duet, which works perfectly after the symphonic finale. Make no mistake, the African-American attendance for this film was much higher than the average animated 2D film, so it was definitely a calculated marketing decision, as well as just a trope of the era. I was hoping you'd close the podcast with that version. By the way, what version was that you did use at the end? Chelsea?
I don't think he listened to the very tail end, because that's when I gave my very poignant, shameless plug. That's actually me singing. I was just having fun in the studio one day, and I really wanted to do this song because we were doing this episode. So I just sang it, and you can actually find the video online. That was me.
He goes on to say, sorry for the lengthy email, but running a podcast myself, I know that the longer form feedback can be very helpful. I also leave you with this unrelated question. Do you think that Brave and Tangled could have been done successfully as 2D films? I personally think they could have been, as the 3D-ness really added little to these particular stories. Thanks and keep up the good work. Christopher Coleman from tracksounds.com. Thank you so much, Christopher, for that. I really liked hearing a contrary opinion to ours, because obviously we kind of can put the blinders on and just continue with our discussion. And so it's nice to hear an outsider's opinion, especially one that's very poignant and true. And so my opinion on Brave and Tangled, I heard people talking about Brave, how amazing the 3D was. 3D meaning CGI, and how great it was, and the hair was very vibrant and just lush. So I don't know about Brave being done in 2D, but I definitely could see Tangled. I think definitely could have been done in 2D. Just going back and looking at Glenn Keane's concept art, it makes you wish for that version, in my opinion. I mean, sometimes when I see this concept art and just the feel and the life of the 2D line, it's just I get very enviable and wish for the version that never was. But yeah, I mean, Tangled is beautiful for what it is. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a shame that 2D is kind of being forgotten in ways. I don't know if this is ever in Pixar's future, but it would be really cool to see them do a 2D feature. I mean, that's really going out of their comfort zone, because since they're, first and foremost a technology company, but I'm sure they have a few people around who still have those skills, and they may be able to blend it with the 3D in a way. It'd be really cool, because I do think that Pixar could pull it off. But yeah, that being said, I hope there's more and more features from at least Disney that feature the 2D, because that's just, let's be honest, 2D is my love. So anyways, here's Morgan's monologue on your email, but yeah, thanks for the email. So you can find Christopher at tracksounds.com. You can listen to his podcast there. And so if you're really interested in movie soundtracks or film scores, definitely check it out, because it's a great resource, and he reviews all the new CDs and films that come along with them. So yeah, go check it out.
Along with the joys of podcasting, you find out a little bit more about each other as you learn to multitask.
Let's see.
Chelsea just brought me food, and I can't say no.
Okay.
No, while you were away, Chelsea didn't come for like another 15 minutes. It was just me. So I recorded the Audible thing. And this is actually not episode 6, it's actually episode 7. Episode 6 is like that mini episode. It's not out yet, but it's that interview panel with Brad Bird at the Los Angeles Animation Festival.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So I just recorded that really quick.
Thanks, Kay.
Thanks, Kay. Cool. Well, hold on, let me finish this tamale.
Oh, okay, so episode 6 will be the Brad Bird panel?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Mm-hmm. So, surprise.
Surprise, we actually have 7 episodes.
I looked online, and it doesn't seem like no one posted it anywhere. So that's good.
Yeah.
There's just like a 2-minute clip from it. Not sufficient.
Huh.
Okay.
Something with that.
Oh, my water. I grab a water. I'm gonna get a water real quick, and then we can start.
Okay, I'm gonna get one too.
Yes.
No problemo. Are you still there?
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at something really funny on the internet. Okay, I'm fully.
Focus.
Sorry, but there's a page where you can download a bunch of quotes from Angry Beavers, and it's one of my favorite cartoon shows. Anyway.
Oh, jeez. What is that?
Sorry, what's that?
What was that?
Sorry, I was watching a video.
You're so lame. Focus.
Hey Rotoscopers, loyal listener Maggie here, wanting to wish you a happy holidays and all that hullabaloo. So I listen to you guys all the time, just thought you should know that, especially when I'm doing calculus homework. So thank you for making that a bit more manageable. I mean, it's still math, and that kind of sucks. But anyway, best of 2012, eh? I love you all, but Mason always makes me smile. What can I say? He has a quick wit and a knack for impressions. Of note, I always get a laugh out of his poor unfortunate toys in episode 6 and his recitation of the King of Thieves trailer from episode 11. But don't feel too bad, Morgan and Chelsea. Girl power! The Swan Princess episode is one of my favorites, even if the movie isn't. For some reason, the funniest moment for me is when you both simultaneously crack up listening to the trailer. Most magical musical adventure indeed. I love your banter and your childhood stories. Alright, I'm tired. It's been a long day, and yes, I did actually have to write this all out. So, here's to a new year of more reviews, more nerdy couch discussions, more animation, and more time vortexes. Catch you later.
Hi, this is Melissa Kumro. I started listening to your podcast kind of after it came out already, and I was listening to it, trying to get my friends to listen to it too. I don't think they do. Their loss. For your entire episodes of 2012, I've always liked the ones where it was Disney movies or things that are close to Disney movies. Like the first episode, the Beauty and the Beast one, where Mason said that asked if the Enchanted Rose was like a time vortex. I was sitting in my bed just listening to it, and I burst out laughing. I'm surprised my parents did not come in and check on me. And I couldn't help but go to school the next day and start using those references that I've heard throughout your show. And my other favorite moments were when you guys were kind of quoting The Iron Giant. I had never seen that movie, but I found all the quotes hilarious and kind of heartwarming and made my ride to school way more fun than it should have been. And another episode of my favorites was the Swan Princess. I had never seen that movie either, but yeah, I haven't seen a lot of movies. But you guys singing on it at the end, that was hilarious. And how you guys kind of got off topic with the singing was even more hilarious to me, because I have a tendency to do that myself. Another favorite episode of mine was, I don't know if it was Tangled or Anastasia that came first, but the Tangled episode where you guys shared your favorite princesses, and I forgot which one was like, I can't say I like Belle because she's a brunette because my girlfriend's a blonde. I think that was Mason, but I'm not sure right now. That one made me lol, and it was hilarious, and that was probably my favorite point of the episode, besides when you guys all quote the movies, because I have tendency to do that as well. Sing a lot. Another favorite episode of mine was Anastasia, because I grew up watching and kind of singing along to what I thought was the real version, found out was not, when I was like in 6th grade that, oh, this is not the real movie. I was like, what the heck? I was watching The Secret of Anastasia, as it was actually called in the movie. Anastasia. I was like, I like this movie. Yay. And then I found out, Anastasia. What? And then I convinced my mom to get it for me at the $5 shelf at Target, and she thought that we already had the movie. I said, no, we have the parody. I'm very sorry. And throughout that episode, I was like, Rasputin, you're so lame. And like Bortok got, just so you guys know, Bortok, he got another movie. I don't know if you guys, I forgot if you guys brought this up in the show, but he got another movie, and I'm pretty sure they have sold him as a double feature somewhere in the vast thing of Walmart double features. So that's always favoriting of mine, when you guys make fun and analyze some of the villains in animated kids TV movies. Not TV movies, they showed them on TV, but they didn't come out on TV. Another favorite episode of mine was Toy Story episode, because, well, I realized how quotable all Pixar movies are, and at Girl Scout camp, my camp name for being a camp helper person thing, I am Pixar, and I have a Pixar name tag that has like Pixar characters on the Pixar logo. And I growing up, I always loved Toy Story 2, and like all the other Disney movies out there of Pixar-ness. And I didn't realize till I got into grade 10, I'm not going to be able to work for them because I can't draw. And so that kind of dampened me. And then while I was listening to you guys talk about Pixar and everything, it was like I was sitting there laughing because so much of it, I just realized how hilarious everything is to me, and how I never caught some sly things there. And I was like, when did they say that? I remember now. Okay. I was sitting there listening, and I was sitting there waiting for my mom to pick me up after a drama session thing at our community place thing. And so I was sitting there laughing, and the person who was waiting with me, because my mom was kind of late because she didn't remember what time I was supposed to be picked up, I had to explain myself. I was like, I'm listening to a podcast. They're talking about Toy Story. I really like Toy Story. I'm going on 7 minutes, over 7 minutes now, so I think I should probably stop. I really enjoy your podcast, and I'm sorry if I sound terrible on this. I have a terrible cold. Well, not cold per se, cough. I hope you guys continue doing what you're doing. It makes my life so much fun and easier. Goodbye, Rotoscopers. This was Melissa Kumro.
So here's an email we got from Gemma Clark. Subject, loving the podcast. Hey guys and girls. Yes, and girls.
There's more of us than one of them.
Just wanted to say that I'm a new follower of this podcast, and I really love it. I've still got a few more past episodes to listen to, but I'm getting there. It's great to hear some girls' opinions on animated films. Seems as if I feel a bit ostracized in real life, being a total animation geek, and everyone else I know being completely clueless. I also love that you're talking about many different animation studios films. I can't wait to hear more Ghibli episodes. I was just wondering, in relation to your most recent podcast, The Nightmare Before Christmas, kinda sorta, what do you think of Corpse Bride and Frankenweenie? And or will you be talking about them at a later time? Sorry if you've mentioned this already in an episode. I haven't listened to it yet. Keep up the great work, and I'm looking forward to many future episodes. Okay, well, first off, this obviously is an email from October. But that's why we're catching up on all of our emails and, putting 2012 to an end. So all the 2012 emails we are reading right now. So thank you, Gemma. So I actually really like Corpse Bride. I actually remember seeing it with Chelsea for the first time. She came to visit me while I was up at school, and we saw Corpse Bride because we were such animation nerds and no one else would see it with us. So I like that movie. I don't know if it's one of my favorites. It's very odd in a quirky sort of way, but I like it. It's okay. And Frankenweenie. Did we talk about Frankenweenie?
We mentioned it very briefly on the Nightmare Before Christmas episode, but not very much.
Yeah, I really liked Frankenweenie a lot. I liked it a lot more than Paranorman. And it was fun. It was exciting. It was cute and a little heartfelt. Definitely a really good Burton film, I thought. But apparently audiences didn't think the same, because when we read that list just now, Frankenweenie wasn't on there, huh?
No, it wasn't. So, I loved it too.
Disappointment for Disney, because a lot of time and effort, hello, for stop motion. There's a lot of effort that gets put into it. But yeah, it was good, and I didn't see any problems with it. I was just really surprised that more people didn't see it.
Yeah. Our next email comes from Mike B, and he says, "Hey guys, this has been a great year for stop motion animation, just like we were just talking about. And I just came back from perhaps the best of all, Frankenweenie, also in October, I'm sure. I'd just like to share some of my thoughts and get your opinion. During Frankenweenie, a movie theater in the background has Bambi on the marquee. This is very fitting. Both movies deal with children coping with death. The big difference with Frankenweenie is that Sparky has a happy ending. With this in mind, do you think that Sparky should have lived after the windmill fire, or should Victor have learned to let go as Bambi did?" I don't know. I think in that moment I was kind of like, I felt like he should have just died, because that's real. And why give such false hopes to kids or something, But then on the other side of me, I felt like, no, I wanted him to live.
I had the same opinion. I wanted him to stay dead, and I still have that same opinion. Thank you very much. So I just felt like it completely contradicted with everything the movie was teaching, that, you can't go to these extreme lengths to bring someone back. It's not real. It's not the circle of life in a way. And it was all this kind of preaching in a way, although it wasn't preaching, but it was definitely there about, just learning to accept it and moving on. And then he just got a free pass, he got another Sparky. So that was kind of disappointing to me, because I thought it would have been a bit more real and just more realistic.
I'm like, yeah, it's not that big of a deal to me. But yeah, and I remember when I watched it, I was kind of like, I wish they kind of would have left him dead a little bit, because you kind of want to mourn for that too, because at some point in time he's going to die, and at some point in time you're going to have to get over it, so you might as well learn how to get over it now. But then again, I also think back and I'm like, aw, but I don't want him to die. I don't know. But yeah, it's true. I agree. And he continues and he says, on another note, Frankenweenie is an example of celebrity voice work done right. Unlike Hotel Transylvania, the actors' names were not paraded around on the posters. And yet they did a stellar job with some, like Martin Short, voicing multiple characters. He did a better job at it than Robin Williams did in Happy Feet, for sure. This movie is an exception to what frustrates enthusiasts and voice actors so much. And that's a real treat for this Halloween. Best wishes, Mike B. I agree. I liked the voice work in this one, and I like the fact that it wasn't paraded around. Speaking of voice work, that has been a theme in our podcast. I find that after going through all of these things, I've realized, Morgan, that we are really passionate about this.
We love our voice actors and hate our celebrities. Celebrities, right.
Yeah.
I like voice actors done right.
Yeah, we want it done right. So that's been a huge theme in that. And we've got another email that goes in with that as well.
Okay, this is from Angeli Singh. Hey, Rotoscopers. I've been catching up on a few episodes lately, and I have a few comments. On the episode about Prince of Egypt, you all talked about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle show. I just wanted to let you know that is already airing. As for Sean Astin voicing Raphael, it didn't bother me that much. In fact, I didn't know it was him. Speaking of voice acting, in the Aladdin episode, you talked about how people know characters by the celebrity who voices them. For me, it's the opposite. I know the actors because of the characters they have voiced. For example, whenever Nathan Lane is in anything, I think, oh, it's Timon. In India, I started watching Full House for the first time. Something about DJ's boyfriend, Steve, kept bothering me. I couldn't figure out why until I looked him up online and learned that he was the voice of Aladdin. Steve. About Aladdin. I see the ending of Aladdin as an engagement ceremony, and they had a very long engagement. Indian weddings usually have an engagement ceremony before the wedding. That's all for now. I really love the show. And Jelly. Ooh, I like that.
I know.
Bit of perspective. That makes me feel okay about them kind of changing the wedding and pretending it never happened.
Yeah, me too.
It never goes out and says it's a wedding, but yeah, I like that perspective, and that makes me feel calm and at ease about everything. And yeah, I love thoughts about voice actors and how for some people it's the character first that makes them know or become familiar with, the actor's other work.
I've also noticed that one of the other themes that we do is normally we're really good at going on tangents.
Tangents.
As I was getting ready to watch it again, I couldn't find our DVD. So I decided, I'm going to go back. I've got the VHS. Just pull it out. Pull that dinosaur out. Let's find it.
Old trusty here.
Old reliable Toy Story VHS.
It got some mileage.
It does. Wow.
Sure, I've had to clean the headers on the VHS a couple times.
Yeah, no, I put it in the machine, and I started rewinding it because it was like somewhere in the middle. The fact that I had to rewind it was like, oh wow,
great.
This takes me back. But the machine started making this really crazy noise. I'm thinking, it's gonna explode!
And that was just a way of life back then.
I know, it was like, oh, that's normal. I think if there's anybody listening to this podcast that's under the age of 15, they're not going to know anything of what we're saying.
What the freak is a VHS? What's rewind?
No, right? First world problems.
No, 90s. Problems.
90s first world problems.
90s.
Oh, man. But my favorite part today was watching it is beforehand it had all the previews, and it was like going back in time to 1997 because I could just see all of these old previews that were going past. At first it was like 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close, and then also they had an in development preview of Hercules.
Yeah, those were my favorite of all the previews Disney did when they show like the black and white sketches and
they show like the pencil test,
yes,
and the storyboards and stuff.
I remember there was like a Beauty and the Beast one, Aladdin. It was because back then they didn't have scenes completed. Yeah. They had to get a trailer out, but there weren't very many scenes that were done, and so they would just say, "Hey, just throw in these sketches." One that really stands out to me is in the Mulan, like one of the previews for Mulan. I just remember it was black and white, and he's like, "The greatest gift and honor is having you for a daughter." And Mulan, she has like these like triangles on her cheeks.
Yeah,
because they would take those off, and that's where they'd put like the blush. And I like anytime I see that scene, I just think triangle cheeks, so cute. Triangle cheeks. Oh man.
Yeah, and the Hercules in development preview had like a pencil test for like when he punches that centaur guy and he flies away and his horseshoes fall after him.
Yes,
and there's
he falls, and he gets back up and he like gasps for air and the horseshoe hits him again.
Yep. And before that, when he punches him or when he lands in the water, you see the actual words written, splash.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh, not my favorite, but a good one is, "Honey, we've shrunk ourselves." The one quote where he's like, "We need to get ourselves a different fabric softener." The only reason I know that quote is because
I was about to say the same quote.
Because of that one preview, I know that one. Then it also had an old Disneyland commercials. It's like the "Remember the Magic," and it was like these little. It was the 25th anniversary of Disney World, and everyone's just, they're just trying to bump up sales. Go see the parks. but it was like, wow, that's cool. And then they had a PC computer game of Toy Story. And then they also had Mighty Ducks TV show. But it was great. It felt really appropriate that I'd bring out the old VHS for this dusting off our childhood memories of this movie.
Well, that was a lovely 90s tangent. Reminiscing down memory lane. I love it.
Okay, can I just clarify? Okay, just because we're called the Rotoscopers doesn't mean we think that rotoscoping is the most awesome thing in the world. I know, like, on a few episodes we've mentioned, like, oh yeah, there's, like, rotoscoping here, but obviously we know that this is nothing compared to full-fledged animation. A while ago we got some, like, bitter hate mail from someone, like, criticizing the name of our podcast.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I forgot that guy.
And, like, he was going off about how much rotoscoping sucks. And he's like, I can't believe you call yourself the Rotoscopers. Like, no one in the industry is going to take you seriously. You guys are such a pathetic joke. I'm like, come on, we're not Rasputin.
It still hurts.
I know, like, it did hurt at the time, but, like, we obviously got over it.
Because we were like, okay, we know they obviously did not listen to the podcast because, like, it's not like we're a podcast all about rotoscoping. That would be kind of boring, and I don't think people would like us.
Oh, and the reason we call ourselves the Rotoscopers is because, like, we're not the ones who are, like, the experts in the studios creating the films. We're kind of, like, doing it from behind, kind of making our own copy version of it. So that's kind of why we call ourselves the Rotoscopers, because we're kind of going over everything that they've already done and talking about it and doing our best. Sorry.
Sorry.
So anyways, like, we don't think rotoscoping is so awesome. It's just a technique, and it's kind of an easy one to talk about, so we do.
So another exciting thing about the podcast is it has opened up a world of amazing people we've been able to meet and special guests we've had on the show.
Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers, is that right?
Yes.
Animation Addicts Podcast. Animation Addicts Podcast. Hello, this is Don Bluth, and you're listening to the Animation Addicts Podcast with the Rotoscopers.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Bill Farmer. Welcome to the Animation Addicts Podcast, where we're going to talk about all sorts of wacky voices. So stay tuned, would you? Gorge.
I would love it if you would have a Frankie Franco 3, or Frack, as we know him. I think I said Frankie Franco 3.
Oh, yeah, I know. Frankie Franco 3.
I was like, wait, I definitely did not say the third.
Okay.
What did I say? I don't know.
Frankie Franco 3.
Oh, nice. Now, do I need to record on my end?
No, we have a recorder, so
all right,
you're A-okay. Cool. You are good to go.
I can just do the fun part then.
Yes. Exactly. So you're a podcasting pro, so you've done this all before, you know, the Skype and the record and the re-record occasionally.
Oh, that's the worst. When, like, your side doesn't record and, like, the other 3 did, and you're like, oh, crap. And so you have to try to go in and re-record. It's horrible.
Yeah, and be as funny as you were the first time and say the same. It never
like, you're
works.
acting. You're being a character of yourself. It's weird.
Yeah, we've definitely had those moments before. Anyways, this isn't happening right now, just FYI.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question, though. Where's Chelsea?
Chelsea is in Texas and doesn't have internet connection, so she's not here.
Oh, shoot. Well, it's good that she's in Texas.
Yeah.
So, do you know anyone who could possibly co-host with us since Chelsea's absent?
Well, hey guys, how's it going?
Oh, hey. I guess my brother's here. He'll take over Chelsea's spot.
What's up, Steven?
Just a cool guy like you guys.
Cool guy, huh?
Rotoscoping away, huh?
Yeah. I'm just a fan of the Rotoscope podcast, so here I am.
It's Rotoscopers.
Oh,
embarrassing.
Podcast foul. Get out of here.
See you guys.
Just kidding.
No tangents, guys. Oh, what is that noise?
What is that?
Oh, I have a yo-yo. that makes noises when you do it.
Okay. Fantastic.
A yo-yo?
I was a yo-yo! Was.
www.thundertube.com. Made in St. Louis. Makes just plain wacky sounds.
Too late to be known as John the First. He should have been known as John the Worst. What the freak was that?
It's my thunder tube.
Yeah, it's not what it sounds like. Why do you have a thunder tube?
I got it at a toy store or something, and I just thought it'd be fun to add to our Halloween.
Okay, you should just do that at random parts of the podcast. Like when we're like, Jack the Pumpkin King.
All right, the thunder tube. I think it's going to be part of a Rotoscopers staple.
Dude, that's hilarious.
Like, I know podcasts where, like, when someone says something that's like a zinger or funny, they randomly ring a bell. But no podcasts I listen to have thunder tubes.
Thunder tubes. It's amazing.
Okay. One of my highlights this year was getting to see a test screening of a film, let alone a test screening of Wreck-It Ralph. So this was something that I've never been able to go to, and Chelsea and I were able to see Wreck-It Ralph in its unfinished form. And so in episode 10, we got to cover all things Wreck-It Ralph from the test screening.
Oh, John Lasseter. Oh, okay. So as we're sitting there, like we've got our popcorn, we've got our drinks, and we're just waiting for the movie to start. And all of us, like, you see all these different chairs that they're taped off, and they're like, oh, those are just some people that are going to be coming in. We're like, oh, okay. And we're waiting.
First, there was a guy down in the very front row who was wearing a Hawaiian shirt. And if anyone knows, John Lasseter wears Hawaiian shirts every single day. He has a huge collection. Just like Google it on YouTube. Like, there's a video of him, like, going into his closet. It's pretty awesome. But he had, like, a ponytail, and he was kind of skinny. I was like, aw, fake John Lasseter. Lame. I was like, well, John Lasseter, he's the CEO of Pixar, and he's also the head of the head of Walt Disney Animation. This guy is a busy, busy guy. So I just kind of assumed he's not going to be there. He has way too much on his plate to just go to a screening. Like, I'm sure he's seen this movie in the real form, like... Real meaning R-E-E-L. Probably dozens upon dozens of times in some way, shape, or form.
He's definitely not going to see
so I was like, he's not going to be there.
But so we're sitting there, and all of a sudden this whole group of people just come in, and some of them are dressed nicely and have these suits on, and some of them are dressed up just kind of casual, and some of them are more business trendy type. And they come in, and they go and kind of disperse to different spots, and lo and behold, it's John.
Yeah, I sit there and I'm like, I turn my head, I'm like, it's John Lasseter. Like, I yell it kind of loud, but not loud enough so he could hear. And my boyfriend's like, no, that's not him. I'm like, no, it is. Yeah. That's him. And I just like sat there with my mouth open and not really, but like I kind of watched him as he went up the stairs, and he was one row behind us in the middle. They put us on the side. But so I just kept looking back, and there was another girl sitting right next to him, and she kept turning to her friend, like with, making no noise and mouthing the words, "It's John Lasseter," and she started crying.
Well, and then there's another person like further back up, and she was just like, "We love you, John." Wow.
Yeah, and he was like, quiet.
He was
like, shh. Pretty awesome. So he was there, and like I didn't expect that. A lot of the executives were there, and also the director. He was sitting kind of behind us, and then later on in the film, he was kind of behind us with a clipboard. Pretty cool. I wish I could have come up to him, because it would have been... I love The Simpsons and Futurama, and he's been really big and integral in those. I'm like, I just want to thank you for all you've done.
You're awesome. He's directed some of my absolute favorite Simpsons episodes.
Streetcar Named Marge, Cape Fear, what was that?
The monorail.
The monorail episode is probably I always wanted to go up to him and say, I called the big one, fight.
I'm pretty sure he would know what that is.
All the time.
I'm sure he does. But then again, we didn't want to be fangirls. Like, I heard someone later, they're like, yeah, some people were going up to John Lasseter, and I was just, like, really embarrassed for them because they were just, like, not doing it the right way. And I was just like, yeah, okay, like, I'm glad I didn't go up to him and whatever, so...
But this is our way to fangirl out. You can now know exactly what we're thinking, and if John Lasseter ever gets this, we thank you for everything you've done. And if Rich Moore ever sees this, we're going to say, oh, wow, thank you so much for Simpsons. Thank you so much for this movie. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And since we posted our podcast about Wreck-It Ralph, it somehow made the circulation around Walt Disney Animation, and we were able to meet some friends who worked on the film, one being Renato dos Anjos. Anjos? Anjos.
Anjos. Well, technically it's Anjos, but...
I'm American.
Awesome.
One being Renato dos Anjos, who was the animation supervisor for the film, so... yeah, that's a big deal. He's a big deal.
He's a big deal. How do they say it in English?
Oh, well, it's, it kind of goes something like Renato dos Anjos, but it's Anjos, which is, translating to of angels, coming from a Catholic country. That's what I got.
So Renato is the animation supervisor at Walt Disney Animation Studios for Wreck-It Ralph. And this is the head honcho who's over all the supervising animators. Anything that's about animation, it goes through him.
That's so cool. Yeah, the first time that we came in contact with this project was at the test screening. So, what does it take for you guys on your guys' side to get ready for something like that?
Well, actually, to tell the truth, actually, we heard your podcast here at the animators, kind of someone sent out the link, and we thought it was really, really cool and cute and everything. So really appreciate you kind of putting the piece out there. I think everybody, here kind of had an opportunity to kind of listen to everything. It was awesome. I liked it a lot. I thought it was really genuine. But yeah, I really, I totally appreciate you guys calling. I love the piece that you guys did for Ralph. Again, I thought it was really cute and very genuine.
Thank you. We really liked what we saw, so we're really excited. We see the preview or the screening on Monday.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Whereabouts?
In Arizona.
Arizona, okay. It feels better, I don't want to spoil anyone's experience, watching it. So
totally.
But yeah.
Well, we will let you know when we see it and what our thoughts are, and I can only imagine they'll be even more positive than they were before. So first off, congratulations.
So, or else I know where Phoenix is. I know where you live.
He'll unplug us.
Yeah, I've got powers over the internet.
Yeah.
This email comes from Shannon. Subject, Paperman behind the scenes. Hey guys, first off, I love the podcast. You guys are awesome, and I love listening to your podcast while I'm at work or doing whatever. I just listened to your latest podcast on Wreck-It Ralph. Awesome movie. And noticed your discussion on Paperman and how it was done. Well, you should be glad to know that they have the progression reel online to view, the same one you guys saw at D23. The link to the video is here. And enjoy it and keep making great podcasts. That's so awesome. I really can't wait to watch this. So it's going to be in the show notes. We'll put that in there on how you can get a hold of this video about the progression of Paperman, because it really is groundbreaking. Maddie writes to us with the subject of Wreck-It Ralph episode. Hello, Rotoscopers. I just wanted to start off by saying how much I love your show. Disney is pretty much my life. So hearing in-depth conversations about my favorite movies makes me happy every time there's a new episode. About the wonderful new movie Wreck-It Ralph, loved every bit of it. Before I saw this movie, I wasn't too excited, but then I kept hearing good things about it, and after, I was in love. But you did say something about there only being one racer boy in Sugar Rush, but there's actually 3 racer boys. The names are Gloyd Orange Boar, Rancis Fludgerbutter, and Swizzle the Swizz Malarkey. Oh, jeez. Who names these people? Also, I was really surprised that Kingdom Hearts didn't get a cameo in Wreck-It Ralph. Since it's a hugely popular Disney Square Enix game, That was one of the possible cameos that I was really looking forward to. Just want to hear your thoughts on that, because I know you've brought it up several times in other episodes. Also, another cool cameo was the Space Paranoids game from Tron. Love the show and can't wait to hear more from you in the next episode. Maddie.
Thank you, Maddie. So I guess I was wrong. There were 3 racer boys, but apparently they're very ambiguous boys who dress like girls, or very girly-ish boys, but that's okay. So
Sugar
there
Rush.
are 3. I just imagine Sugar Rush was more of a girly game, but I'm glad the boys can have a boy character that they can play too, if they so choose. And about the Kingdom Hearts cameos, I know it seems as though Kingdom Hearts is a shoo-in for a Disney movie about video games, but I think the one reason why Kingdom Hearts didn't make their way into it is strictly the fact that Wreck-It Ralph really only talked about the world of arcade games. And so it just doesn't really, while it is kind of perfect that, people have been wanting to see some of the Kingdom Hearts characters in other things, but it just doesn't fit with the universe. Now, that being said, I remember the director Rich Moore talking about what is now inevitable Wreck-It Ralph sequel, and he was talking about how they're really going to try to get these other video game characters into the sequel. So this movie sort of focused on arcades, and maybe the next movie is going to focus a little bit on console games. So essentially we're Ralph and presumably the gang, who have now grown to be very quickly favorites. I'm talking about Sergeant Calhoun and Vanellope von Schweetz. How they are going to try to maybe go into a home console in some way, shape, or form. And he did mention in this, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, listeners, but I think he mentioned that they really are going to try and go for Mario in this next one. And this sort of reminds me, gives me a feeling of it's like the Barbie Toy Story situation where, they couldn't get Barbie in the first one because Mattel said no. And then in the second one, Mattel was like, yes, yes, yes. So I think by now, Nintendo's like, okay, yeah, you can take the plumber. Like, make him a main star if you want. Just do what you want.
Just go for it.
So regarding our Don Bluth episode, we got some fan mail about it from Shelby. It says, hey, Rotoscopers, I would like to say thank you for having that amazing Don Bluth special. It was really great to get some insight on the world of animation from such a great filmmaker. I myself have hopes of becoming a great traditional animator. This episode really motivated me and gave me some good pointers on animation. If you ever need anything drawn or animated, I'd be glad to give you a hand. Keep up with the podcast. I will be making a donation soon. Sincerely, Shelby.
Thanks, Shelby. This next one is from Jolly, and she says, I'm a big fan of the show. I love the silliness, the interviews, the wizards' duels are hilarious. I'm always listening to your guys' show when I am working on art projects of my own because it brings me so much inspiration to my work and my ideas. Animation and cartoons has been a big part of my life, and the podcast truly helps me become closer to them. I am an independent animator, and I hope to bring out a short film that I have been working on for years, just trying to get it perfect. The Rotoscopers podcast brings me new ideas and inspiration. While listening to the podcast, I was wondering if you guys had any fan art. I looked and found none. So late one night, I sketched up a quick pic for you guys. I had no idea what exactly to put in it, so I just put my own character in it, giving you guys a super big thumbs up because you're awesome like that. Her name is Harp. She likes the podcast too. I'm also going to donate to you guys because I know every cent counts to help out. I hope we can chat sometime. You guys are great. Jolly. So Jolly, she sent us this email with this fan art, and actually right now it's up on the Facebook fan page. So if you want to head up there, the whole cover photo is her fan art. So we want to thank her so much. And also donating is a great idea. Thank you for that as well.
And yes, donating is a very good idea. It's one of the best ways to support the show. And Shelby actually did donate. So thank you, Shelby, for your donation. And also we recently got a donation from Matthew. So thank you guys so much. It really helps a lot. And we love you guys for it. And if you have been thinking about donating and would like to donate anything that you can to help keep the show running, you can just go to therotoscopers.com/donate. Very easy, and you can pick your amount and it automatically sends it through PayPal. So thank you guys.
So we've been listening also in this podcast to a few voicemails. If you want to leave us a voicemail, you can head on over to rotoscopers.com/voicemail.
Hi, Rotoscopers. This is Alex Aguilar, and I just wanted to let you know that your podcast is very entertaining and insightful to those who love animation and animators. Also, my favorite podcast has been episode 1 because it was very hilarious, and I've also enjoyed the Pixar movie-related podcast. Thanks again for a wonderful discussion about animation. Keep up the amazing work and have a great rest of the year, and see you next year, 2013. Thanks. Bye.
I recently got into this really awesome animation podcast called The Rotoscopers, and you can find them on Hyperbowl or go onto iTunes and search for The Rotoscopers. And it's a really funny podcast. Like, the 3 hosts, they're awesome, and I'm really excited to listen to the new episode because I haven't listened to it yet. But one of the things that they do, they call it like their nerdy couch session or something like that, and it's just kind of like a little pre-talk to what they're leading into type thing, as somehow related with the movie they're reviewing. Like, they did it before they started talking about Tangled, pretty much just talking about like the top 3 favorite Disney princesses out of the 10 official Disney princesses, and I thought that was really cool if they did that.
This episode is from Zach. Subject, episode 1. Hey, Rotoscopers, just wanted to write in and say that I really enjoy listening to your podcasts. Since your podcasts, I have been watching more animated films. Woohoo! That is good. I like that. Anyways, I was reflecting on your very first podcast about the Disney classic Beauty and the Beast. You guys had made a few comments on Harry Potter and who did the voice of Mrs. Potts. First of all, I would really appreciate if you would quit making fun of Harry Potter just because the movies aren't animated. Second of all, you had said that Emma Thompson, or Julie Walters, of the Harry Potter films did the voice of Mrs. Potts. You were incorrect. Actually, the voice of Mrs. Potts was done by actress Angela Lansbury, who starred in the TV crime drama named Murder, She Wrote. Don't mean any disrespect, just thought this should be said. Thanks, Zach. Okay, first off, this was our first episode, and I think there were obvious errors made in this episode. I must say that I'm a huge, huge Harry Potter fan. It was the very first podcast I ever listened to was Mugglecast, which you can actually listen to on Hypable, where you can find our podcast, and it's an amazing show. So Mugglecast, it was one of the first, that's what got me into podcasting and being a fan of podcasts. So I'm a huge Harry Potter fan. And so I don't know. I think this is just funny that I guess I can't really recall this, but I guess we were making fun of Harry Potter. And I'm very sorry because I'm a lover of Harry Potter. I think maybe it was just taken in the wrong angle. Maybe Mason who was saying it because I love Harry Potter.
No, we all do, though. That's the funny thing is we all love Harry Potter. And so it was just funny. I think in this specific episode, we talk about Hermione's time turner and just different things of that nature, but I don't really remember us making fun of it ever in any of the episodes. I mean, if it was, it'd only be in jest of like, oh, haha, remember that part? That's funny. Not ever making fun of it, though. And
Angela Lansbury, I don't know who said this, but I think most of us know that Angela Lansbury was the person who did, Mrs. Potts. She's famous actress. She was in Bedknobs and Broomsticks and, of course, Murder, She Wrote. So, yes, I guess I'm just getting very defensive right now because, I agree with you, Zach, and it just must have been just a slip of the tongue. And, we missed it when we were editing and forgot to cut it out. But, yes, we love Angela Lansbury. She is forever immortalized as Mrs. Potts, and she sang beautifully in that film.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Harry Potter rocks. Wizard rock, that is.
This episode has been really special because it's been something that the fans can have just a hands-on opportunity to help out with the episode. I'll be honest, most of the help that we received in most of these clips came from fans themselves. And a big fan that has helped us a lot with this as well is Gary Wright.
Hey guys. Well, it's been a fantastic year, hasn't it? There have been so many awesome memories, awesome moments. I can't believe this year has flown by so fast. You guys truly are an awesome podcast. Definitely one of the best I have ever listened to. I'm not even kidding. My favorite moment of 2012 would definitely be the time vortex in the West Wing from episode 1. I laughed so hard at that. Oh my gosh. Good times. Okay, I am trying to keep this as short as possible, so I'll just say thank you for everything, all the good times, all the memories, and here's wishing you guys the very best for an equally fantastic, amazing, magical 2013. Bye, guys. Okay, group hug, group hug. Oh, mind if I kiss the monkey? Ugh, hairball. Ugh.
So this is actually an email that Gary sent us a long time ago, back in July, and we actually recorded it, and it was this big international mailbag from people who live in different countries who sent us mail, and it got lost. And so it's, internally between Chelsea Mason and I, it's known as the lost letters. And so we're going to read it now. It says, "Hi, Rotoscopers. I just wanted to say I love the podcast. I've been listening to you guys ever since the Wreck-It Ralph episode, and have listened to almost every episode now. Myself, I'm a college student and animation fan from India. Yes, we do make cheap knockoffs, but whatever. I have grown up with animation. In fact, the first movie I ever saw was Aladdin. Woohoo, go Aladdin. I guess I was meant to be an animation fan since I was born the same year as Beauty and the Beast, aka my favorite film of all time. I grew up in the Disney Renaissance with movies like The Lion King, Mulan, and Tarzan. Even Anastasia, even though it's not Disney, and The Prince of Egypt. I'm also a big Pokemon fan. Since listening to your podcast, I have also had a greater appreciation for DreamWorks and Studio Ghibli. I watched Spirited Away for the first time when you guys covered it and loved it a lot. I also enjoyed listening and laughing along with you guys. Very few people around me truly appreciate animation, and sometimes I even have to go to animation movies alone. Sad face. I can't even quote when I'm in social situation because nobody gets it. With your podcast, I can truly enjoy animation. Keep up the great work, and most importantly, don't let all this success get to your head. Just kidding. Animatedly, Gary, right from India." So thank you, Gary. You've been such a big help to the show, and we appreciate everything that you've done and all your enthusiasm. And I'm glad that you now have another outlet for your animation love. So anyone who's a fan of animation is a friend of ours. So Chelsea talked about her favorite episode, which was the Swan Princess episode. And my favorite episode has to be, hands down, the Beauty and the Beast episode. It was our very first episode. We had no idea what we were doing, and we just sort of went with it. And it was just really fun because we were just laughing and giggling and, talking seriously at times about Beauty and the Beast and what a wonderfully animated film that is, and like Gary said, film in general. And I just remember always going back and listening to that first episode. I know, really lame. I go back and listen to myself. Not so much anymore, but when you first start doing something new, it seems like you're always checking, your new pet project. And this episode definitely has my, the big stamp of approval from me. I think it is one of our top episodes of all time. Just the spontaneity and the excitement, surrounding that episode just can't be beat, really, in my opinion. So here is a big long list of clips from that episode. Also featuring probably our number one inside joke from the podcast, the time vortex in the West Wing.
I don't know. Something in me loves animation, and I see all the animated films I can. Ultimately, I want to work in the industry one day, more on the business side, because I can't draw. I'm not an artist. I'm not a singer, actor. But anyway, so I love animation, and Chelsea and I talk about animation all the time.
All the time.
So we just decided we might as well record ourselves and let the world, if they want, hear.
It's true.
Oh, they want.
Oh.
They're going to want.
It just reminds me, I heard this story of this high school that they, the kids, they got together, they got to pick their new mascot name. And so everyone voted, and the name they picked was the Cougars. And the school board turned it down because they said it would be offensive to a certain group of women, old women who live a certain lifestyle.
Oh,
aka Cougars. And they could name their school the Cougars because it might offend legitimate Cougars. And I just think it's hilarious. I don't know. I think sometimes we take things too seriously.
I want to be the Cougars anyway.
Yeah, anyways. So what do you guys think about it? Excited?
Oh, I'm so excited. If you had the chance to change your fate, would you?
Nah, I'm good.
That's why they're not making a movie about us.
I remember my brother and I, we did this. It was like a summer musical production, and where they would like take different songs from different movies or different plays, and then we would all like just play and do a reenactment of these parts. And I remember they ended up doing the one song where they're going through where there goes the baker with his tray like always, the same old bread and rolls to sell. And so and they did that song, and we're all going and singing along. And I remember my part was like I got to go out in front, and I was just like, I need 6 eggs. And my brother, that's too expensive.
The nuggets, hurry up.
Exactly. I mean, that was a huge memory for me to be able to do that. But it was also, it goes to show you the amazing writing that was written into all these songs. Howard Ashman is probably one of my absolute favorite lyricists. Just the way he wrote things was just awesome. A lot of alliteration, a lot of just very punny type words that he used, and it was just, we saw that in Little Mermaid and again here in Beauty and the Beast, which really added that extra level of entertainment.
And the funny thing is, I like Gaston for who he is and for how pompous he is, and kind of, he has a lot going for him. He's, very talented, and he's a great wrestler. He has chest hair.
And all those eggs he used to eat as a kid. Now he's the size of a barge.
He kind of is that guy who always has everything going for him. The girls are fawning on him and love him. Then even through that, there's flaws that he has.
Well,
and
he's got
they're they're noticeable from the very beginning, but for some reason I still like him because of those. Yeah. Like a lot. Like I hate Gaston, but not really. Like I really like Gaston. He's a great villain.
It's true.
He's got this big conflict because he wants this one girl, and it's like it's the only girl in town that doesn't want him. And so he's attracted to that because he's this, He-Man dominating character.
Well, he's a hunter. It's all about getting the prize and putting it up on your wall.
Sure.
Yep,
so I guess there's kind of that analogy there where he has the bear rug, he has the moose, he has this, he probably has really rare things on his wall, and he could get those 3 girls if he really wanted to. I think their name's the Bimbettes.
The what?
I think that's what they're called, but they're like Babettes. It's something funny like that.
Babettes.
But he can have them, and he probably has. To be honest.
Hey, it's Disney.
Well, in whatever.
Not all pink flowers.
But there's that Belle, the prize, the gorgeous rare flower that he can't have, and so that's kind of the lure in her. But then she doesn't want him.
Apart from that, you have,
which,
of course,
can I just say,
go for it.
This is unrelated to animation, but what was the witch's deal, or the sorceress, or the whoever she was?
I was watching the intro today, and I was like, how come you never see more of the Enchantress? Why doesn't she come back in the end and say, you have passed the test?
Yeah, and turn her into a crystal rose that it can watch forever. Well, I don't know. Just what was her gripe? That she had with him? Just he's a bad guy. I put it upon myself to teach him a lesson.
I am.
Maybe there's some sort of guild of enchantresses and fairies that are sent out. They have some sort of information network. They probably take your personal information from your computer and determine if you are ready for a life-changing test or not.
Yeah. Well, here's another conundrum that I have. He's the prince, right?
Right.
Yes.
Did he?
Yes, he is.
I mean, obviously he had subjects and people that he was prince over. What? Did they just forget about him? The townsfolk? Was that part of the enchantment?
Part of the enchantment was that it just kind of passed on to legend or I don't know. No explanation there. I got nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because, obviously it's not enchanted so much like Hogwarts, where if a muggle comes by it, you can't, it just says, oh, this is a scary old building, please go away, and then the muggle says, okay, and they wander away, But this, Maurice and Belle, they can just walk up and they see the castle, they can enter. I mean, obviously, you have to have women enter the castle if you want them to fall in love with him.
Right.
But I don't know. I just always bothered me that what happened to his people? Didn't they worry about their beloved prince? But maybe he was so revolting that he passed on to oblivion.
Or maybe his castle is so large that just everyone worked there. I mean, you look at the last scene, there's a whole bunch of people there.
No, you look in Be Our Guest and think of all the forks.
I know.
All the plates.
All the silverware had to turn back into people.
Yikes.
We're talking a staff of 500 minimum, folks.
Yeah, for the one guy.
A high-rolling prince.
Okay, and then this is another legitimate question. Sorry, we'll go back to the other discussion about animation.
No, this is... Go for it.
What? Okay, so I should have looked this up beforehand, but maybe you guys will know. Was his sentence that he had to be a beast for 21 years or until he turned 21?
Kind of like a Davy Jones type of thing?
Yeah.
Sentence of his transformation.
Well, because in the thing it says, if he didn't find true love before his 21st year, I mean, he didn't look too young in that stained glass window, but maybe they did a great job of...
Or no, like even the picture of him in his room.
Oh, yeah.
It was like, it's the same guy. Like, he hasn't aged at all. Like, did he just look like super old at puberty, like really young? I guess.
Yeah, like, I don't know.
Oh my goodness. I never thought about that before. This is kind of ruining my Beauty and the Beast experience that I've had, over the years.
Dissect it. That's what rotoscopings are.
That is. We must rotoscope. Wow, I never thought of it that way. Maybe, I don't know. The whole Disney thing, characters don't age that much,
Yeah, and it says it's like 10 years we've been rusting, needing so much more than dusting.
Well, and Chip is still a kid.
Yeah.
So maybe, you know what it was? Maybe it was for 21 years. He had to be he had 21 years to do this. Otherwise, he would stay a beast forever. But everyone was essentially frozen in time.
Yeah, but then why
they didn't age, they didn't grow up, and then when they really turned back, they were back where they were.
Why would the rose be wilting after just 10 years? That's like a defective rose.
Maybe there was time vortex. Maybe there was a time vortex floating in the glass of rose. Or am I getting too Star Trek here? Every time you take the glass off, it takes 10 years off.
That's why he gets so mad when she lifts it up.
True.
But what have you
the time vortex, no! Belle, you don't touch the time vortex.
Exactly. Oh man.
I can see the Beast as this nerd guy. No, the time vortex. No. He's a spoiled, rotten computer nerd.
I always knew he looked better as a Beast.
Anyway, but yeah, okay. So there's some definite continuity holes that we've been dissecting. Yeah, that we've been yanking out of this.
Yeah. One thing I have a question. Why
we're still on conundrum?
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is my conundrum. Why in the world did he say... The quote is, she's like, you can go anywhere you want into the castle except the West Wing. Well, what's in the West? It's forbidden. It's like, why didn't he just say, that's my room?
All my stuff is in there. It's embarrassing.
It's true. It is quite a mess.
It is. For me... that would just be like, all right, that's
your room. I got it.
That's your spot. I will let you.
Yeah, he made it so mysterious. Like, it's forbidden. She's like,
it's forbidden. Don't go in there because it's forbidden. But it's right there in the west side of the castle. West Wing, but it's forbidden. You can't go there.
Right.
An elephant graveyard is
Exactly.
Here, I've said too much.
But I think also that would have taken away a good plot part of the story. So whatever. You have to write it in for the story. Whatever.
Until next time, we
are the Rotoscopers.
It didn't work out too well.
Just take it from another episode. Hey,
no one catches on, so it's the same clip over and over.
Hey, they're just using the same recording over and over.
That was a really good quote.
What kind of production is this?